Aboard a ship, the flickering candlelight is a constant, terrifying reminder of the fire hazard lurking in every corner. One careless move, and the entire vessel could become a floating inferno. But the fire that ravaged the captain's office wasn't just careless, it defied all logic. It left no hint of its origin, just a smoldering ruin, a lingering sense of unease, and the skeletal remains of a man in the corner. This is where Constable Davidson arrives. Fresh from Essex, he's a man not of hunches, but of razor-sharp logic. He begins his investigation with a meticulous survey of the scene, relying on his 5 senses to guide him. He takes a deep breath, letting the acrid smell of smoke fill his lungs. His gaze sweeps over the charred remains, the scattered debris, and the subtle inconsistencies that might hold the key. A peculiar thought forms in his mind as he looks at the skeleton. Had the victim been alive until the very end, trapped in a living nightmare? Or had he slept through his own demise, only to awaken in a far darker realm? The thought sends a shiver down his spine. Then, his gaze falls upon 2 vases, standing like sentinels just a foot apart. Their surfaces are completely unmarred by the fire. It's as if they were shielded from the inferno, untouched and pristine. It's almost, miraculous, he murmurs to himself, that these vases survived, while everything around them was reduced to ashes. The flowers they once held, much like innocence, were fragile and fleeting, consumed by the flames. Another anomaly catches his Aja piece of clothing, torn and ravaged. Yet one small section remains remarkably intact, defying the destruction. Davidson's eyes narrow. What could have caused this small section to escape the flames? Was it just chance, or something more sinister? He takes stock of the clues. His eyes have seen the skeletal remains, the untouched vases, and the partially burned clothing. His nose has registered the acrid scent of smoke and ash. His fingers have felt the texture of debris and the smooth surface of the vases. His ears have registered the constant creaking of the ship's wooden hull. The fire was intense, but these strange clues suggest this was no simple accident. Constable Davidson begins interviewing the 30 eyewitnesses. When asked if they noticed anything unusual around the time of the fire, a clear pattern emerges. 20 of them, a solid majority, reported seeing or smelling something unusual coming from the captain's quarters around midnight. 5 noticed nothing until the fire broke out. 3 recalled seeing a crew member arguing with the captain earlier that day, and 2 were too far away to see anything clearly. The majority answer provides a clear direction for the investigation. Davidson makes a note to re-examine the captain's quarters. Something happened around midnight, and he intends to find out what. Next, Davidson sequesters himself in the ship's office, surrounded by stacks of logs and records. He pores over the documents, searching for any mention of conflicts that might have led to the fire. Soon, he finds it. In the captain's log, several days before the fire, the captain wrote about a heated dispute with a crew member over a discrepancy in the cargo manifest. Davidson notes the crew member's name. He also finds a series of cryptic entries mentioning problems with the cargo hold and concerns about the safety of the ship. Then, he finds a note from the captain to himself, a simple reminder. Take care of the issue with the investor. What issue? And how could it relate to the fire? Davidson knows he needs to investigate the captain's finances. The pieces are starting to connect. The cargo manifest discrepancy, the crew member argument, and the eyewitness accounts of something happening around midnight. He decides to interview the crew member in question, a burly man named Jenkins. Can you tell me about your argument with the captain? Davidson asks. Jenkins shifts uncomfortably. It was just a misunderstanding. Sir, we disagreed about the cargo manifest. That's all. Davidson raises an eyebrow. I've seen the manifest, Jenkins. It looks like there was a significant discrepancy. Can you explain that to me? Jenkins hesitates. I don't know what you're talking about, sir. Davidson's eyes lock onto him. I think you do, Jenkins, and I think you might know more about the fire than you're letting on. Another crew member confirms seeing Jenkins near the captain's quarters around midnight. Davidson's mind races. If Jenkins was near the quarters when the fire started, and he had a motive from the argument, it's a strong possibility. But was the cargo discrepancy a coincidence? He needs to dig deeper. Davidson brings both Jenkins and the captain together for a formal interview. Let's start with something simple, he says, his voice neutral. What's the history of the ship? The captain clears his throat. It's been about a year since we sailed from Africa, where we were commissioned to collect apes for the entertainment of the royalty. Before that, an ill-fated journey to Antarctica, mistakenly passing Chile and Argentina. Since then, business as usual. Jenkins nods in agreement, his eyes darting between the 2 men. Davidson's expression remains unreadable. I see, he says. Now, let's move on. Captain, tell me about your argument with Jenkins. The captain's expression turns guarded. Just a disagreement about the manifest, a difference of opinion, nothing more. Davidson turns to Jenkins. And you? Did your argument escalate to the point where you might have wanted to harm him, or the ship? Jenkins' eyes flash with anger. No, sir, I would never do that. Well, Davidson continues. Let's talk about the night of the fire. Can you both account for your whereabouts around midnight? The captain speaks first. I was in my quarters, preparing for bed. Jenkins shakes his head. I was on deck, keeping watch. I didn't see anything suspicious, but I did see the captain's quarters on fire when I looked down. Davidson's eyes lock onto Jenkins. You didn't see anything suspicious? Not even someone lurking around the captain's quarters. Jenkins hesitates, then says, No, sir. I didn't see anything like that. The tension in the room is thick enough to cut with a knife. With his preliminary interviews complete, Davidson departs for the local magistrate's office. He presents his findings and coordinates the next steps. The captain and Jenkins are given 48 hours to prepare written testimonies, which the magistrate will consider when determining the course of justice. Fines, imprisonment, or worse, could be on the table. Finally, the long day is over. Davidson heads home. To his mistress, Sasha. You've come home early, she says, a warm smile on her face as she finishes a rabbit stew. I see you're cooking my favorite, he replies, giving her a kiss. Together, they set the table, the soft clinking of dishes and the crackling fire creating a warm, cozy atmosphere. In these quiet moments with Sasha, he feels a gratitude that cuts through the grimness of his work. As they sit down to eat, Sasha says, I'm glad we have nights like this, just the two of us. Davidson squeezes her hand. Me too, my love. Me too. The peace is shattered by a frantic pounding on the door. Constable Davidson, we need your assistance. His instincts kick in. He exchanges a concerned glance with Sasha. Be careful, she whispers. He gives her a reassuring smile and heads to the door. What could it be now? His colleagues burst in, their faces grave. We've got something, sir. A pie from the bakery downtown. It had a time bomb inside. Davidson's expression hardens. What's the situation? We defused it, his colleague says, but there's a note attached. It says, you're just getting started. Davidson's eyes narrow. This is no longer just a case. This is personal. He turns to Sasha, who is watching with concern etched on her face. I have to go, he says, already heading for the door. I'll be back as soon as I can. Sasha nods. Be careful. The investigation was just heating up, and Constable Davidson was now in the center of a complex web of clues and danger. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this mystery, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an episode. See you next time.